Hello and welcome to another episode of Ball Around the Head, NBA Finals Edition. We've been doing this for about 2 months now, these live streams, and we finally made it to the NBA Finals. And when we first did these live streams, I don't think any of us really predicted that the finals matchup we got was going to happen. But here we are. So we have the Los Angeles Lakers in the
Daniel. This is the NBA Finals. Should I take this off? NBA Finals?
That's cold. That's cold.
I gotta take this off. Sorry, I didn't know this was a finals discussion. Hold on.
Wow. That is ice cold. Okay.
All right, had to get it out of the way.
Anyways. We have the Los Angeles Lakers and the 5th seed Miami Heat continuing their improbable run with wins over the Pacers, Bucks, and now the Boston Celtics. Just initial reactions. What were you guys' reactions to both conference finals matchups? What do you guys think about it?
I'm a happy camper. Lakers made it to their 32nd NBA Finals. But I'm really impressed with the Heat. I had the Celtics in that series, and the Heat just keep proving me wrong. So, got to give them respect going into this series.
With the Western Finals, I wasn't nervous about the Nuggets because I know the Lakers win in 5, even though they're supposed to win in 4. But Jamal Murray was on a tear, and unfortunately, he kind of got injured in that Game 5. He was not playing as well as he was playing before. But, Lakers on their way to another banner. So that's always fun. And as far as the East, it was a good series between the Celtics and the Heat. I had the Heat coming out on top. Didn't get the games right, but it was a pretty good series. Jason Tatum kind of, in my opinion, underperformed, but I'm sure we'll talk about a little bit of this later. But I'm pretty happy with the results. Both my kind of Eastern and Western teams won.
Yeah, I feel like it was very good basketball. I feel like a lot of the games were close, at least at near the end of the game. There were a couple blowouts, but it was good basketball, really. There was that shot by Jamal Murray, which most people compared to Michael Jordan, was one of the craziest things I've ever seen. Tyler Hero being a knockdown shooter.
Mm-hmm.
I have respect for the Heat. Like Ben said, I didn't really think the Heat were that good. I thought they got lucky, but they proved me wrong. They deserve to be in the finals. And according to Brad Stevens, they were the best team in the East, and they proved it. So with that being said, we're now going to talk about the NBA Finals, and we are going to give our predictions. So during the regular season, the Miami Heat lost the season series 2-0 to the Los Angeles Lakers. So, Ben, who do you have winning the NBA Finals?
Of course I got the Los Angeles Lakers. It's not really much of a surprise. Seeing as, the Heat are pretty clear underdogs going into this one as a 5 seed, and given that I'm a Lakers fan myself, but I got them in 6. I got to give the Heat respect here because they have the exact same record as the Lakers in these playoffs as 12-3. So all their losses put together would not get them eliminated from one series. But the Lakers have been on a tear because the Western Conference is clearly the better conference. They've definitely had a tougher road, I would say, to the finals. And, we were all concerned, or many people were concerned about the Lakers coming in after what they did in the seeding games, but they've just been on a tear. So I'm not too worried about the Heat.
I want to go as far as to say I'm not worried about the Heat, but I do think the Lakers will win. How many games? Wait, can you just my name? I don't know if you guys forgot, but Lakers in 4. It's that simple. I just think the Lakers, it'll be a very good series. I think as far as matchup wise, it's relatively, I'm not going to say even, but it's debatable. I'll say that the Heat, they actually have a tendency to come back after when they're down. And, that was shown today. They were literally down 6 with 9 minutes, and all of a sudden I blink and they're up 14 with 2 minutes. So, but, I'm sure everyone has heard this 1,000 times in the past couple of days, but the Lakers, 52-0, entering the fourth quarter with a lead. So the Heat can't really play comeback ball against this Lakers team, which, they've been doing throughout not the entire playoffs, but they did that against the Celtics. So I just have the Lakers winning in foul. It's that simple. And we'll get into, more details later.
I agree. I believe the Lakers are going to win, but I think Miami's going to put up more of a fight than you think they will. This team, and I was one last stream where I was so close to saying Celtics in 5 because I thought the Celtics had the better talent and it was just going to be a quick series. This team just does not give up. They do not. They can beat you in so many different ways. On the defensive end, they have Hero and Robinson and Dragic, who are deadly offensive players. Butler, Adebayo, Iguodala, Crowder, all those people are great on defense. They're just a team. That's really what they are. They're not a superstar. They all contribute in their own ways. And, of course, the Lakers have LeBron and AD, which has brought them all the way to the NBA Finals. But I feel like Miami is going to put up a bigger fight than most. I don't think – this is what I'm saying is I don't think there's going to be a blowout this series. I feel like there's going to be close games throughout. At most, maybe a 10-point win. I feel like Miami is going to do a lot better than most are thinking. And maybe by now most people aren't overestimating the Heat after they just stormed their way through the Eastern Conference playoffs. So actually, in the end, I do have the Lakers winning in 6. I do think the Heat will steal a couple games near the end. So,
wait, really quick to mention, the Lakers have been ending series in 5, so I wouldn't be surprised if the Lakers won in 5, but I'm not going to, Lakers in 4. You know what I mean?
What'd you say about the Heat, Daniel, that they never give up?
Yeah, they don't.
Can you is there another team we've said that about recently? The Lakers have played?
That's different, man.
Is it though? Is it different? All right.
And I want to point this out. You made a point earlier, Ben, where you said that Lakers had a tougher road to the finals. I'm going to strongly disagree with that one.
Yeah, I actually disagree too.
I feel like the Blazers were an 8 seed. They were way under 500. Should have been a win. The Rockets, hit or miss. They were a miss. So the Nuggets, I mean, they were a good team, but they're the Nuggets. And the Heat went through the Pacers easy. Bucks, who were the best team in the NBA, even though they didn't show up, they were still close games. And same with Boston. Mm-hmm. They played post game. So, I mean, it wasn't like a huge differential, but I mean, I still think Miami had a little tougher road, especially because they are the 5 seed and the Lakers are the 1 seed. So they obviously got the easier opponents. I agree. So I'm going to ask now if all 3 of us have the Lakers winning the NBA Finals. Most of the time, I believe only one instance occurred where the team that won didn't have the Finals MVP.
Jerry West, I forgot the year, but he lost and won it.
But I'm going to assume that this year it's not going to change. So, Andrew, who do you have winning the Finals MVP?
Well, it's as simple as this guy right here. And sorry for those listening, but I'm going to show my shirt.
Man, he had a cool.
It's this Lonzo? Guy right here. Oh, wrong jersey. Yeah, I forgot. Sorry, Lonzo. But he would have won it. Hold on.
Oh, my God.
He's got a whole routine here.
LeGoat James. It's that simple. LeBron James, Finals MVP 3 times already. He's 10th NBA champion, or 10th NBA Finals appearance. I just think LeBron James, as far as statistic-wise, scores, assists, rebounds, and as far as leading his team and just being that vocal leader as well as that kind of mental leader. Remember he just said that his mind was stronger than his shoulders the other day. So I think that LeBron is just going to win MVP, and I think Anthony Davis might have better numbers, especially on offense. I just think LeBron James, he's more than kind of a statistical player, which is why people think he may deserve the MVP, but that's kind of long gone. But I just think LeBron James is gonna wheel this team to an NBA championship.
Ben?
My dude must have been sweating. He had 4 shirts on there. Just gotta say that for everybody listening. I'm gonna go with my gut here and say AD, just because I think he's the best player in this series. Like I've said before, I know LeBron gets a lot of credit, and which is deserved. And I know he always shows up. He always shows up in the finals, even though his finals record is not great. There's often been discussions about whether he would win the MVP, even though he was on the losing team.
2015.
Yeah. We know he always shows up. So my head is saying LeBron, but I'm going to go with my gut and say Anthony Davis.
I'm gonna get on that point a little later. I'm gonna have a little rant, not as bad as a rant as that Clipper rant, but it's gonna be a rant. But I'm gonna go with LeBron James. If the Lakers win the championship, obviously, I feel like there's no way they're not gonna let him not win MVP and Finals MVP, even if AD has astonishing numbers, just like this year when AD had way better numbers than LeBron, but LeBron was nominated for MVP and not Anthony Davis. So I feel like it's gonna be the same thing because MVP is narrative voting. That's kind of what it is nowadays. If you have a good team and you're the best player on that team, odds are you're going to win the MVP. And that's maybe a reason why LeBron never wins MVPs because they don't really try as hard as in the regular season. They just seem just like with the Cavs teams, he just got in the playoffs and destroyed everyone. He just didn't care. And the Lakers team, the Bucks just played amazing, so Giannis won it. But I think LeBron. What's up?
I was going to just say, didn't LeBron get the first seed, though, with the Cavs team, even if he wasn't playing?
That was a while ago, like 2015. The past couple of years, he was not.
Oh, they didn't get the first seed in 16, 17, 18? Oh, okay, it doesn't matter.
18, definitely not. That team was horrible.
They made it as a 4 seed once, I remember.
Yeah. So, anyways, but if the Heat win, I'm going to go with Bam Adebayo. Because today – Bam Adebayo proved to me that he's not – I'm not saying he's the best center in the NBA. He's got to do a couple of things to do that. But he's up there in the conversation, maybe top 5, top 7 maybe. He absolutely destroyed Tice today. They subbed in Tice for Grant Williams, and Adebayo took advantage, and the Heat just didn't look back from there. So I think there's a chance that – I mean, he's a beast, man. His defense is amazing. He goes in for rebounds. He makes sure he never drops the rebound. He just goes in. He's a hardcore player. That's what I'm trying to say. So I think if Miami wins, Bam Adebayo will be the Finals MVP. But in the end, I think LeBron will end up winning it because I also have the Lakers winning it.
Wait, do we want to acknowledge the Tyler Hero kind of? So I don't think Tyler Hero would win MVP as a rookie, but I like the spirit.
In this stream, I'm going to try to acknowledge as many comments as possible, but I'm gonna try to acknowledge questions. I do read your comments, trust me, and I will get to some of these comments you said earlier because there's some of my points that I'm gonna have later in the stream. But yeah, Tyler Hero actually has a real possibility of getting it who knows? If the Lakers focus their attention on Dragic and Hero is open, kind of what the Celtics did, and he made them pay. But who knows? Because the Heat are very unpredictable. Who knows what's gonna happen? Yeah. If you guys have questions, send them in. We'll answer them as soon as we can. So in a way, this question's a little bit different. Who is the best player in this series? Because one can argue when the Warriors first won their championship a couple years ago, before that whole dynasty thing, LeBron had the way better stats than anybody on that team. The year Andre Iguodala won the Finals MVP. So there's a chance that the best player doesn't win Finals MVP is what I'm trying to say, aka what we said with Anthony Davis and LeBron. So, Ben, who do you have as the best player in this series?
I mean, I still got Anthony Davis. It's like the third time I've had to answer that way, but he in the last series or in the playoffs, he leads everyone on the Lakers and Heat in points, blocks, and player efficiency rating. Thank you, Elijah, for agreeing with me. Yeah, I've said it before. I know LeBron does a lot, and he's probably, I'd say, the most important Laker to their success. But as far as the best player on the court, I'd say Anthony Davis, because there's not a big man that can do what he does in today's game anymore. He's just dominant. So,
Andrew?
It's KCP. No, I'm just joking. I actually have to agree with Anthony Davis, and I was saying LeBron would have been Finals MVP just because I feel like he kind of is going to force the Lakers organization to do that. But I think Anthony Davis is just going to be the best player. I mean, numbers-wise, again, he's averaging like 30 in the playoffs, while LeBron is averaging high 20s. So, and he rebounds, even though he struggled to rebounds against the Nuggets, which is kind of weird because Jokic is so kind of not. I was expecting Anthony Davis to go off against him as far as rebounding, but I don't know. Anthony Davis, for some reason, he's just become a shooter all of a sudden. He's like a 3-point threat now. I mean, he hit 2 clutch threes game 5 against the Nuggets in the fourth, and I'm not going to mention the buzzer beater he had game 2, but I just did, so I will. Anthony Davis, I mean, he's a defensive threat. Apparently, he's a 3-point threat. I've seen him do some spin around fadeaways that don't end up. I just think Anthony Davis might be the best player in the series. I mean, he's a walking mismatch.
I don't know the record books for our streams, but this could be the first time we've all had the exact same answer on a thing. I have 80 as well, kind of with the point I said earlier when I introduced this topic of I feel like LeBron would win MVP, but Anthony Davis will have the way better stats and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not fully sold on Anthony Davis, and again, I'm going to get to that a little later, but I feel like the way AD played last round, there's always those people who've never made it, and then people are like, all right, are they capable of holding that pressure?
Mm-hmm.
And then again, they're not at a away crowd, so it's not that much pressure, but it still is high stakes. But I still think Anthony Davis will be the best player in the series. LeBron's kind of taken that role in his career where he needs to do his job no matter what it is. It could be setting his teammates up. It could be scoring if he needs to, if there's a mismatch, which he used that Michael Porter mismatch the other day. And that's when the Lakers kind of ran away with it in the second quarter.
12 points in the fourth quarter in a row. I think it was 12. I mean, dagger after dagger after dagger.
And that fourth quarter, like you said, that was crazy. I've mentioned many times, I'm not the biggest LeBron fan, but that was really cool to see when he just took over the game and said, nah, these guys are not coming back 3-1 against me. We're going to rest right now. So I think in the end, AD will be the best player in this series. So as for XFactor, Andrew, who do you got?
I'm going to say Dwight Howard. I think Dwight Howard, he really stepped up on the Lakers last series. I mean, again, I don't really have Dwight Howard's numbers because he was kind of been random, but Dwight Howard, he monster on the boards and also those putback points and just securing offensive rebounds and getting the second chance points. And I think Dwight Howard is upped his free throws too. So Dwight Howard, he's kind of been emerging as that, third star, even though people say Rondo, nobody should say Kuzma. Dwight Howard has been popping in there. I know Ben might say Kuzma, but come on, dude. Dwight Howard, I don't see the Heat having that kind of big of an impact from a role player, especially if he was starting on the bench early in the playoffs and now he's starting center for them. But I know Vogel kind of switches it up, but Dwight Howard, XFactor, look out. Superman in the building.
Do you want to name your other team as well, or do you want to all do Lakers?
Oh, yeah. So the XFactor for the Heat, I'm going to say Tyler Hero. I would say Gordon Dragic, but I think Tyler Hero is going to just take advantage of being open because they have to guard Jimmy, they have to guard Bam, and they have to guard Dragic. And I think Tyler Hero is really good off ball. And I mean, he literally just this game an hour ago, he took the fourth quarter, he made some clutch shots. So I think Tyler Hero is going to just take advantage of being open. And, he was the king of South Beach for a day, game 3 or 4, I don't remember. But yeah, Tyler Hero and Dwight Howard.
Yeah, for the Lakers, last series I went with Kuzma, and I was dead wrong. He played terrible, and they still won easily. He looked like he could not handle the pressure at all.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to have to agree with you, Andrew. I've got Dwight Howard because I really loved how he affected the Joker in that Nuggets series. He really got in his head after the Joker was starting to give us some problems. He kind of calmed him down a little bit. Got the start after game 4 for that closeout game. He was the starting center after he didn't really start at all in the regular season. And I think really what's going to be key is his matchup with Adebayo, because if AD wants to be soft and hang out on the perimeter and play power forward. Dwight Howard's got to get physical with Adebayo. Because Adebayo's going to be one of the top 2 players on the Heat probably this series. And for the Heat, I have Jimmy Butler because, I said, this is another thing I was dead wrong about last stream. I said that Butler had to be great for the Heat to win against the Celtics. And he honestly did not have a very good series. He was 4th on their team in points per game and field goal percentage during that series. And for that series, he did not lead the team in points, rebounds, assists, steals, or blocks, any major stat category. So that's not going to fly against the Lakers. They need everybody playing at their best. And if Jimmy Butler's really the superstar of this team, he has to prove it because he didn't prove it last series. And just because the Heat are a balanced team, they've been able to make it this far. But they're going to need everybody in when it's time for the Lakers.
I mean, he just dropped 20, or 22, but yeah, I get it. He kind of slowed down in the middle of the series.
I mean, he wasn't really. I know I watched every single second of every single game. He wasn't as dominant as he was, and that's kind of a good thing for the Heat during that series where Dragic and Hero and all of them took over. But
yeah,
as Ben said, the Lakers the past 3 series always take out that one guy, and they probably will take out Dragic maybe this series. So someone else has to step up, and Jimmy Butler's the perfect guy. So Ben had his little streak of talking about AD for 3 straight questions. I might start my own streak about that. My expectation for the Lakers was AD. And I'm going to get into a little more detail, but I'm going to get into some detail right now about that. Bam Adebayo is a pretty good defender.
Oh, yeah, really? I mean, Jason Tatum, I'm not going to make you have –
switch onto guards and guard them with ease, which is very rare nowadays in the NBA with centers. And I feel like Adebayo is not obviously – this is what I mean by this. Davis has faced Nurkic, who has missed a year and a half due to a broken, I think, leg he had. Then he faced PJ Tucker, who has a 2-foot advantage over him. And then he faced Nikola Jokic, who, as gifted as he is offensively, is definitely not the best defensive player in the world. So Adebayo is going to definitely be, unarguably, his most challenging test this playoffs. And I'm going to be interested to see how AD responds to something like that because we talked about adversity in the conference finals of him being there for the first time, and he answered it well. But now he's going to be in the NBA finals facing someone who is not going to give you some free buckets. And when this Heat team is motivated and they're locked in on the defensive end, it's a scary sight. And I wonder if the Lakers can – I mean, maybe it's just a Celtics problem. I've watched them all year. It kind of was. If the Heat go into the zone, I wonder if the Lakers have an answer for that because the Celtics struggled through the first 4 games of the series with the zone, and they finally got it going, although in the end it wasn't enough. But for the Heat, I have Hero and Robinson. I'm going to combine those 2 people.
Okay, that's fair.
I feel like those guys are going to determine who wins the series, if the Heat win the series or not. If the Lakers can somehow stop Robinson and Hero from going berserk from 3, the Lakers are going to win with ease. This would be easy because they can just lock up Dragic and then lock up Adebayo, have Crowder shoot all the threes he wants. Kind of what the Celtics did. Let Iguodala wide open for 3. But if they make these threes, they are so dangerous because then they got Dragic driving the lane, and you can't help on Dragic because you've got to guard them. Then you got Butler driving, who's very good at drawing fouls, and then you can't help because you got to have Robinson in the corner. And I want to say Robinson's release, man, that dude, he's not Klay Thompson, definitely not defensively, but his release, that one shot they had, I think, in game 3 of his quick release, that was so beautiful. And Tyler Hero, he's a shooter, but he could also create his own shot and create shots for other people and grab occasional rebounds. So I think if the Heat are going to win this series, kind of what an X factor is, they need to step up. They need to play their best basketball of their career because Butler and Adebayo, just ask the Trailblazers, Rockets, and Nuggets. 2 players will not win you a series. You need that whole team to step up to beat the Los Angeles Lakers. So that's my X factor. I'm going to get to the comment real quick. I don't know what it was. Yes, sir. Thank you, Elijah. Appreciate you for commenting throughout this stream. So which stat, Ben, do you believe will best determine the outcome of this series?
All right, so I'm going to do something a little interesting here. I've got 3-point percentage, but the Lakers are not a great 3-point shooting team. And the reason I chose 3-point percentage is because I think that's how the Heat would possibly win this series if they get on fire from 3. So what I'm going to say is that the Lakers need to be within, I'm going to say 7% from 3. Now, you might say that's a low bar, but I'm picking the Lakers to win. So it should be, the Heat are going to have to do a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Because like you said, Daniel, I think people like Tyler Hero and Duncan Robinson, if they get hot from 3, as well as people like Jay Crowder, Kelly Olynyk, Andre Iguodala, like we saw today, that's how they can sneak out some games against the Lakers. So I'm going to set the bar at Lakers got to be within 7% of 3-point percentage.
I was going to actually say 3-point percentage too, but I mean, you mentioned it, so I'm going to go with the second choice that I had, and was rebounding, and specifically, I want to see if Bam and AD will go against each other. Shout out to Eli who just mentioned that, which is funny. But I just think rebounding and securing offensive kind of second chance shots, because what's this dude's name? Bam Adebayo, super good. Yeah, super good defensively, and hopefully he'll be able to, or not hopefully, but hopefully AD will be able to rebound over him if he decides to play center, which would be good because he's going to be able to kick it out to Danny Green, who's going to miss, and then he's going to get another rebound and kick it to KCP, who'll miss, get another rebound. Caruso, he'll make it, but he'll miss the second one. You know what I mean? So I just think being able to secure rebounds and getting more shots, more threes from these kind of role players on the Lakers, that'll be really helpful. And Ben kind of said that the Lakers are not good at 3-point shooting, which I definitely will agree with. But I just think being able to have the opportunity to get those shots. And also defensively, I mean, Bam Adebayo, one of the commentators mentioned how he created a new role, the point center, and I couldn't agree more. I mean, he's rebounding it and then kind of doing the offense, walking up the court, kind of controlling the pace. I think it's just, very interesting to see the emergence of a position like that. So I just think being able to kind of get those second chance boards and being able to kind of just stop, shots and bricks from going into turnovers. So, yeah.
I have 3-point percentage as well. I think that might be my same stat for every single Lakers series. I'm pretty sure, but it's true. And I've said this every single series. The Lakers need 3-point shooting. And I want to before I get into my thought, the thing on that rebounding, I saw this the other day on Twitter. AD's rebounding is a little concerning.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing about that is the Lakers aren't getting out-rebounded, though. They're still grabbing the rebound. Rondo's still in there. Pope, Green, they're all in there. So, I mean, as bad as it is for like a 7-footer to not grab rebounds, as long as the Lakers grab the rebound, I feel like – I don't know. I feel like personal rebounds are a little overrated. I feel like it should be – I've never said this before, but I feel like it should be a team stat, not really an individual, because, I mean, you see the plays where someone shoots a 3 and there's literally only one person under the rim. Yeah. And they get the rebound, and it goes in the stat book as a rebound. They're like, oh, man, they must have fought for that rebound, and it just dropped in their hands. So it's like, okay, it's a rebound. So I don't know. That's that. But anyways, as I kind of mentioned with Hero Robinson, I feel like just 3-pointers are going to determine the Heat's success big time, because they shot 19% last game against the Celtics, and they got blown out. Jay Crowder started off this playoffs really hot from 3, and recently he's hit a little slump. And like Ben said, if Iguodala can shoot the 3 like he did tonight, the Heat are unstoppable. With his defense and that 3-point shooting, oh my goodness, he's not going to do it. Just for everyone watching, he's not going to make every single.
I wouldn't be that confident.
But Dragic made some pretty deadly threes against the Celtics, some soul crushers. Jimmy.
No, he cannot shoot.
Not really
he shoots too much. He shoots too much.
For the Lakers, they got Danny Green, who I see chucks up a lot of threes. Pope chucks up a lot of threes. Kuzma, oh my goodness, man. Whew. I got a thing or two to say about Kuzma. But I just feel like whoever shoots, and maybe Ben's right, maybe within 7%, the Lakers shoot within 7%. That's probably going to be good enough, because they're not going to shoot 50% every single night, because they don't have deadly 3-point shooters. But I feel like the team that shoots best from 3-pointers, which has kind of been the case for every round, will definitely win this series.
Yeah, and you don't want your shooters to get cold. Speaking of cold, I'm going to put my jacket back on. So hold on.
All right, you want to move on?
I'm gonna wait for Andrew to come back. Thank God we are live streaming this.
Going back to what you said about rebounding, a lot of times you'll see like the guards getting big rebound numbers nowadays, but like they're not the ones that have to box out. The big men are the one boxing out the people who are crashing the offensive glass, and then it comes right to people like Rondo and stuff. And so that's why it's kind of weird. You see these point guards with like 10 rebounds a game. It's like, how'd they get that? So yeah, I agree with you.
To that point, like with Westbrook, and I'm not going to get into stat padding and all that, but when he had all those like 20 rebound games, when Adams boxed him out and gave him the rebound, I mean, that's what I mean. I should just be a team stat, not really an individual. But then again, that ruined like the whole history of the game, the triple doubles and all that. It'd be impossible to get triple doubles. But anyways, since we were talking about 3-point shooting, we're going to switch to a huge, as I mentioned 5 million times before, a huge thing for the Lakers this series. Do you guys? Let's go with Ben first. Do you believe that the Lakers can contain Tyler Hero and Duncan Robinson?
Okay, so contain is a relative term. I'm going to say they're going to be able to contain them well enough, but they're definitely going to hurt the Lakers, I think. Hero, I honestly wouldn't be surprised if he's the best player on the Heat in this series, judging by what he's done in this playoffs. He looks unfazed, even though he's a rookie. That's going to be one of the toughest things that the Lakers are going to have to face. They are eighth in limiting opponent 3-point percentage this regular season, which is good. It's not the best, but I think it'll suffice, But Duncan Robinson, oh man, he can shoot.
Yeah, I think I have to agree with Ben. Like, I would rather use the term limit. Like, can they even limit these two? Because it's one or the other. You can't contain them both. I mean, they kind of rarely play together. But if the Heat decide to go to like a smaller perimeter-based offense and lineup, which they probably might do, especially if Anthony Davis thinks he's a perimeter player all of a sudden, they're definitely going to do damage. I think as far as containing, the Lakers don't really have that good a perimeter defense. Like, LeBron James is going to have to play on the perimeter, which he does. So he'll try and defend one of them. But then Tyler Hero is going to run around like a chicken with his head cut off and get open looks. I think Danny Green is a pretty good defender. But, I mean, what can you do? Like, again, one of them is going to be running around and the other was just going to be wide open to shoot. Caruso, actually very good defender on the Lakers, and I think he'll have to do a lot of kind of help defense and try and get those people from shooting wide open looks and running around. But the thing with Caruso is a lot of the time he gets switched to the paint. Against the Nuggets, I kept seeing Caruso on Jokic, and I'm like, how did that even happen? I'm like, why isn't Anthony Davis just staying on Jokic, and why isn't LeBron just staying on Murray? So, I just think Caruso is he's gonna get switched, and Bam's probably gonna go ham on him. Bam will go ham, but as far as kind of containing these two shooters, I think limit is the correct term, and I don't even think they can do that as good as you would wish.
So, yeah, I don't think there's any chance the Lakers will contain them. I still think they will get their 3-point shots in. They'll hit it at a pretty efficient rate. But I know a way that the Lakers could get like someone like Robinson out of the game, which kind of the Celtics did for the first couple games, and they shied away from it. And that's take him on defense. He cannot guard. He's not the best defender. He's not horrible. He's gotten a little better. But the Celtics abused that matchup in one game, and he had like 5 fouls. He barely played. I think it was game 1 they did that. There were a couple other games he got just Jaylen Brown took him to the paint, Tatum. He couldn't guard him. So, and then those are those people. And then you put LeBron on him, he has no chance. And if that becomes a problem, kind of what it was with MPJ, you got to sub him out, because is it really worth it having that 3-point shooter if you're just going to keep on giving points on the other end? Because nowadays everyone's switching. But then again, I said the Heat did play zone for a lot of this series, so they could very well play zone if that becomes a problem with Robinson. But I feel like they're still going to get their shots up. I feel like they're going to hit it really well. Maybe not. I don't think Hero's going to go off for a 37-point game like he did this series. I feel like the Lakers will adjust to that accordingly, double team him like they have done with Lillard, Harden, and etc. But yeah, and I want to point this out real quick, call you guys both out. Our last stream, the question was, can the Lakers contain Jamal Murray? And you guys both said yes. And I said no. And you guys said that they had really good defenders that can stop Murray. And I said, no, they do not. They have people like Harden and Lillard who they double-teamed, so they couldn't shoot. They didn't double-team Murray. And I'm going to be honest with you guys, Murray cooked all of them.
Nuggets lost.
And none of them could guard him.
Nuggets lost.
That's not what I'm saying. When LeBron guarded him down the stretch in Game 5, first of all, that layup, he fouled – I'm not going to cuss. He fouled Jamal Murray really bad, and that was not called, and that was a horrible non-call because that changed the course of the game. But Murray got his buckets. It was unfortunate he got injured in Game 5, I believe.
Yeah, 5.
But I just want to point that out, that I knew Murray. I underestimated him, and he just played like a baller. I want to tip my cap to Murray. He proved a lot of people wrong. I'm going to tip my cap to the rest of the Nuggets later, but that's all I want to say on that. We got 2 comments.
They did double team him though in the Game 5 and actually stopped him. He didn't even score in the first quarter. So,
anyways,
I mean, do you have any stats behind what Jamal Murray did to the Lakers? Because I'll admit he played a good series, but
he shot really well. He averaged like 20+ points per game.
But okay. He takes like a million shots.
He had 250-point per game games. I mean, 250-point games against the Jazz.
I mean, I'm just saying from what I saw, it looked really like Murray got whatever shot he wanted. He hit some crazy shots as well. That lefty shot, he just made some miraculous. I don't know. I feel like Murray. Okay. Remember what I said? True. Shout out to Eli. He did call that a couple of streams ago, and we shunned him. Said he was wrong. But apologies to you, Eli. But anyways, we're talking about how the Lakers can contain Duncan and Robinson. But maybe the bigger question is, do you guys believe that Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo, who I would bet the farm that they would guard LeBron and AD respectively, do you believe that they can contain LeBron? And I'm going to emphasize this a little further. They're going to get their points. But do you think they can hold them to under 45% shooting from the field?
Well, real quick, I just was doing a little bit of looking up some stuff, and I was at first saying, all right, well, Bam's a lot smaller than Anthony Davis, and it turns out Bam Adebayo is 6'9", and Anthony Davis is only 6'10", which he's definitely taller than 6'10", but he's listed at 6'10". And then I was like, all right, well, their standing reach has got to be different. Both of them have a 9-foot standing reach. So I guess Bam Adebayo for some reason is Mr. Elastic all of a sudden. I didn't know how like big and and just tall and how, I don't know. But yeah, I think Bam Adebayo definitely could contain Anthony Davis or what was the word you used? Contain Anthony Davis. As far as under 45% shooting, I think that'll probably happen because Anthony Davis, when he struggles in the post, he'll bring it out and he'll try and do like turnaround fades, and that doesn't really work out at all. But he'll do it the entire game. So I'm just questionable there. And I think Bam Adebayo is going to take this step to guard Anthony Davis, and he'll definitely limit this clown. Or Anthony Davis isn't a clown; he's a beast. But as far as Jimmy on LeBron, that's definitely an interesting matchup. I think Jimmy Butler has the mental game to guard LeBron, and I think he's like crazy. Jimmy Butler's like crazy. I always imagine the Game of Zones, Jimmy Butler, when he's like smiling. When I think of it, he's crazy, man. And so I think Jimmy Butler is going to guard LeBron James. As far as under 45% shooting, I think still that probably will happen because AD and LeBron are high volume shooters. So they're gonna win through both of them shooting 1 million shots and hopefully making half of those. So, yeah, I think they'll be able to guard them. I don't know.
All right, Ben.
Yeah, every series where we've talked about the Lakers, we've either said, "Oh, there's no one who can stop LeBron," or "There's no one who can stop AD." But here, this is actually a really good matchup if you're a Heat fan. Like Adebayo on Davis and Butler on LeBron. So I think they'll definitely be able to shut them down for 1 to 2 games. Aside from that, I think at least one of them, you can't shut them both down for the whole series. That's not going to happen. They're 2 of the best players on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
But these matchups are most of why I gave the Heat a little more respect and said the Lakers are going to win in 6 when they've beaten everybody to this point in 5.
Yeah, I'm actually really excited for this Butler and James matchup. I feel like it's going to be a dogfight between both of them. Butler will not back down at all, and LeBron will prove that no one can guard him. And this is what I was hinting at earlier in the stream. I genuinely think Bam Adebayo is going to contain AD pretty well. I really do. I really think – AD might get his 14 free throws he always gets, but I feel like Adebayo is going to hold him to not the best shoot. I feel like he's going to hold him to under 40% shooting this series. This entire series, AD will shoot under 40%. And it's going to force AD to shoot more threes because if he's not going to move Adebayo in the post or work him in the post, he's going to step back and shoot threes, which, he can hit them, but he's not a knockdown three-point shooter. But for LeBron, I think LeBron can and will, beat anyone 1v1. I feel also if Butler's too aggressive, LeBron is going to LeBron and complain for a call and then file to the NBA a complaint of how he doesn't get enough calls. And then
the Nuggets did that too.
Every single call went towards LeBron, and it was incredible to watch. Great basketball.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah, it's true. When he gets hit in his head, he goes. It's awesome to watch. It's great basketball, quality basketball.
Well, I just think LeBron. Just don't foul him. It's that easy. But LeBron James.
The Nuggets only did it because the Lakers did it, and they actually got what they wanted. LeBron and AD shot more free throws than the entire Nuggets team, which is not.
That was game. That was only in Game 5.
I was talking about when that LeBron complained, and then the Nuggets were like, all right, he complained, so we can complain too. So that's what happened. Anyways, off topic. I want to say on that before we move on, that play when LeBron asked for a foul before he made the layup on an and one. Oh, the and one.
That's the kind of thing I hate. That stuff too. That's the kind of thing that made me a LeBron hater before he joined the Lakers. I was just like, oh, don't do that, please, to make the layup. Sorry, continue.
No, you're good. I'm going to say this because I do disallow LeBron a lot. I respect every accolade he's accomplished. It is not easy to get to 9 finals out of 10 years. That's incredible. Yeah. Tip of my cap. My only problem with LeBron, and off the court, he's an amazing person. He does a lot of things. That school he built was absolutely incredible. I don't hate him. I don't hate him as a human being. I'm not like that. But I do not – oh, actually, this is what I wanted to talk to you guys about. I was going to do this for a little later, but we're going to do this now. There's a tweet by Kevin O'Connor he made a couple days ago, I think after Game 4. I believe it was Game 4. And this is what I've been preaching for so long, and I was waiting for a verified person to talk about this. And this is what I'm going to say about this reffing situation. He said, and I quote, "Referees can't always be blowing the whistle just because a player falls or screams. It's ridiculous. I get officiating is hard, but it's a problem that the NBA needs to fix to further improve the quality of the game."
It's actually, I blame the players more.
But it's true. Every time you put on a game, if you just shut your eyes and just listen, every 5 seconds you hear, "Hey! Hey!" on both ends.
Okay, Daniel, this is a family-friendly stream. Calm down.
And it's so annoying. It's not basketball. It's not fun basketball to watch. It's horrible to watch. So anyways, we went way off topic. I apologize for that. So That's the answer to that question. So we're done talking about the NBA Finals. We all three of us have the Lakers winning. 2 of us in 6. 1 of us, to no surprise. So we're gonna move to other NBA news. Kind of the only NBA news besides the NBA Finals and playoffs going on. Billy Donovan agreed to a 4-year deal with the Chicago Bulls. And Andrew, I don't know if you really want to contribute because you haven't really contributed to other coaching topics. Do you want to contribute to this one?
Well, Billy Donovan, he'll bring to the Bulls some first-round exits and some false hopes. So yeah. I
think Bulls fans will be pretty happy to make the playoffs.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah, maybe. I could see them making the playoffs. I mean, he had this Thunder team, and they went to Game 7 against the Rockets. Even though I feel like a lot of the time it's kind of people consider coaches like the reason why these teams go so far. I think it's a lot of the time the players. But yeah, I don't really care about coaches that much. But it's interesting, I guess. Like first round exit. If you're a Bulls fan, that might be exciting. I don't know.
Okay, Ben.
Yeah, I think this is great for the Bulls. And I'm sure Hole, one of the OGs on this channel, a big Bulls fan, would be very happy about first-round exits next year. But what was surprising about this for me is that another thing I was wrong about last stream, I'm just going to bring them all up, was that I said Billy Donovan probably left the Thunder because he didn't want to rebuild. And this clearly makes that not true because the Bulls are definitely in a rebuild situation right now. So that kind of brings into question, brings it back up again. What happened with Donovan and the Thunder? He had an amazing, by all accounts, amazing coaching season for the Thunder. No one expected them to get a 5 seed.
He was a top coach of the year candidate.
Yeah, it really makes you wonder what happened there. And I really have no idea.
Wait, who won Coach of the Year? Wasn't it Nick? Is it Nick Nurse again?
Nick Nurse.
Okay. Well, how?
To your point, the report was he didn't want to coach anymore because he didn't want to rebuild to the Thunder. And I mean, technically, the Bulls aren't like entering a rebuild, but they're not.
That's true.
They're not a championship contender team by like not even remotely close. They got to make a couple moves. It's interesting to see. I mean, every team's being linked to Chris Paul now. It'd be interesting if the Bulls got Chris Paul because Chris Dunn is a free agent this year, and Zach LaVine, as good as he is offensively, he's never get the job done defensively. He's not really a star. Like he could be an all-star, but he's not really a MVP, Finals MVP kind of player. But I feel like this hiring was good. But as I was talking to the OG Holden, I mentioned that I kind of wanted to see someone like a Kenny Atkinson get the job or a Wes Unseld. I feel like those guys may have been Kenny Atkinson. I'm surprised no one's hired him yet. He did such a good job with Brooklyn, and he's not even linked to any of the remaining coaching jobs, which kind of is amazing. Maybe he just doesn't want to coach. Who knows? But overall, like definitely, this is way better than Jim Boylan. He was one of the worst coaches from the reports that Bulls fans have ever had. And Donovan, he hasn't accomplished crazy amount. Like he said, he's never made it past the first round. But as me and Benjamin mentioned, like I think Bulls fans will be very, very happy to have playoff basketball back in the Windy City. So, Last stream, I'm going to check the comments real quick, actually. True. Billy Donovan may be the change that the Bulls need. The franchise need to change. That's why they changed their front office for the first time in like 20 years. And they just no, Billy Donovan has never led the Thunder to the conference finals. That was Scott Brooks. Wait, did he? No. It was Scott Brooks, wasn't it?
Yeah, the Thunder had a first round exit.
They blew the 3-1 lead and they fired him. Wasn't it?
Scott Brooks was 2014.
Wait.
Anyway.
No, Scott Brooks has been around.
Daniel, we should go next topic and then you fact check this.
Hold up.
Okay. Or just
apparently this is very important.
It is. I'm confused. Eli could be right.
I don't think I've ever heard that sentence before.
Shout out to my boy Connor watching the stream. You're gonna have quite a lot of stuff to edit out. Okay, no, so yeah. When the Warriors blew 3-1 win. So wait, no, he's right. Billy Donovan did leave him to a conference. No.
Oh, that is right, because he was there 1 year with Durant and Westbrook before Durant left.
Yeah, I guess that does make sense. He blew a 3-1 lead in the conference finals, and then the Warriors won that year.
Connor, you have a. Oh yes, so according to my Wikipedia sources, Bill Donovan was the coach in 2015-16 when they made the conference finals. Shout out to Eli. Thank you for fact-checking us. Thank you. Anyways, so if you listen to one of our recent podcasts, when I talked about the Clippers, we had an amazing editor, shout out to you, who zoned in on the spotlight to me as I ranted. I'm going to need the spotlight again because the next question is what's next for Boston?
I'm definitely going to enjoy some crackers while I watch this.
So if we're going to be honest, coming into the season, as a Celtics fan, I truly thought – I don't think they'd win the finals, but I thought they could be competitive. As the season progressed, I thought, okay, Milwaukee's the best team in the league. Oh, shoot, Toronto's actually pretty good as well. I'm still a little afraid of Philly. And we went to the bubble. We beat Philly. We lost to Milwaukee. We went to the playoffs. And I'm like, all right, they're going to beat Philadelphia. They're probably going to lose Toronto because we don't have Hayward.
Mm-hmm.
And then we beat Toronto. And then it was kind of like Boston needs to win this series. They have the better team. They've beat the Milwaukee's gone. Toronto's gone. Philadelphia's gone. This is the team they need to beat. It's a 5 seed. Go ahead and beat them. And they lose. They got outplayed. They got when they had leads, that's when they played their worst, which is not how you play basketball.
Mm-hmm.
So
comeback.
What's next for Boston? They need a center. And I'm a big Tice fan. Shout out to Tice. He did what he was asked to do. He's not getting paid a lot, but he came in. He had a bunch of stuff on his back. And what Steven said, which I kind of believe, Tice was the perfect fit for those 4 people. He doesn't want the ball too much. He won't shoot too much. He can set you a decent pick and roll and all that stuff. He could play semi-good defense. And then the playoffs came. He had no chance against Joel Embiid. So then Enes Kanter comes in. Then we zoom into the next round. Enes Kanter plays. Raptors absolutely exploit that matchup and destroy him. And then we go to Tice, who Tice didn't play good either in that round. Then this series, Bam Adebayo stole Tice's money, man. Like, Tice had no chance. And I'm saying this for love. I love Tice. I'm not being mean, but he's not a starting center for an NBA championship team. Then again, the past couple have been like Tristan Thompson, Andrew Bogut, and they're not really top tier.
Andrew Bogut was pretty good.
They need someone who can guard like a Joel Embiid, a Bam Adebayo, a Giannis, like one of those centers. And they don't really have a lot of cap space to do that.
You need a defensive center? Because Tice was pretty good offensively.
It's debatable. But anyways, Kanter as a player option, I wouldn't be shocked if he opted in, which would leave the Celtics with 3 centers for next year. There's rumors to us trying to get Harry Giles because him and Tatum were teammates in college, which it'd be cool to see Harry Giles in Celtics uniform. But also, the last thing on this topic, it's not really that bad of a rant, but the Celtics need a scorer off the bench so bad. I saw there was one play during today's game when I was thinking about these questions. They were in a zone, the Heat, and the Celtics were moving around. They got, I think it was Kemba, Hayward, maybe Brown and Tatum, and Wanamaker.
Back Kyrie.
And Wanamaker played pretty good this series. He wasn't, again, he's never that great player, but he played good. But if they had a shooter on that court, that zone is busted. They left Wanamaker wide open. If you want to make the 3, go ahead. Please make the 3. And he wouldn't shoot it. He traveled, or he would throw it away, or he'd miss the layup, whatever. So I feel Boston doesn't need to change much because then again, this is their first year with this core of Tatum, Brown, Walker, and Hayward like fully healthy all season. So I feel like this is a good growth step for Tatum. Like Andrew said, Tatum didn't really play well this series. He shot really, really inefficient. Jalen took a little step forward. Smart needs to be a little – I love Smart. My favorite Celtics player, but he's got to be a little more smart on the offensive end. He shot way too many threes.
Smart has to be more smart?
He ruined our momentum a lot of times. It wasn't good basketball. But I'm going to end that. I feel like Boston could either draft or sign a shooter off the bench, and they need a big man. Ben, what do you got?
I'm gonna be a little more vague. You said the Celtics need a center. I say they just need a superstar. Like I've mentioned before that they've been really balanced offensively. And Tatum, before this season, I thought he could be that guy. You know, he's been playing very well in the playoffs. This playoffs, you know, he's still be playing good, but not the leap I expected him to make personally. So either he does make that leap or they get someone through free agency, but I don't think they're going to be really someone that people call contenders unless they get that one guy who's a superstar.
Well, do you think Rudy Gobert would fit good with the Celtics, Daniel, as a center?
Yeah, I don't think because Boston doesn't have contract to trade except for Gordon Hayward, and Gordon Hayward's stock isn't really high right now. He kind of played, although he just played injured and he wasn't really looking that good. But anyways, I feel like that's the only chance they have to trade and their picks. But I don't think a lot of teams want to take on Hayward's $34 million contract. So, but yeah, Rudy Gobert would fit perfect with this
Isn't
team.
he? Wait, so I'm thinking like free agents in 2021 to grab like Steven Adams. That would be probably pretty. You don't think that would?
I don't think Boston's gonna have the cap space because I'm pretty sure Tatum's gonna sign a huge deal this offseason, and him and Brown and Walker will make like more than half the salary cap. So I feel like they're gonna have to. What's the word? Go around the margins. There we go.
Yeah. Well, nobody knows the Celtics more than you, so.
Andrew, before you answer, actually, I want to answer. I'm so sorry I missed this question. Leo, you asked who is the most entertaining player? Do you guys want to answer?
Well, Andrew Hall, I would probably watch him most of the time. He doesn't really play that. He hasn't really played that often, just on the bench. But no, I think LeBron James, very entertaining to watch, especially when it comes down to are we going to win this game or not. LeBron James picks up the slack. Jimmy Butler is always pretty fun to watch, and I'm just mentioning these two because they're playing in the finals. As far as my favorite player to watch, Luka Doncic, always just his highlights are amazing, and he's so young too. Those are just three of my favorite players that I'll just quickly mention.
Ben?
Yeah, most entertaining player. Real quick before I mention, I'm going to give an honorable mention to Zion Williamson right now. I think in a couple years he will fit that bill. And right now he's definitely one of the most exciting players to watch just because he's a rookie. He was a rookie this year, played like half the season and still played amazing. You know, the Pelicans were not great, and yet he drew primetime TV, national TV games audiences. But I'm going to agree with Andrew and say Luka Doncic is the most exciting right now. We haven't really seen a player with his skill set. You know, he's got a slow set shot, and yet he gets it off all the time. Crafty passer and really strong finisher. Just really exciting to watch.
Yeah, who I wouldn't watch? Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart. No, I'm just joking.
So my answer, and I think I told Ben this, maybe my basketball friends this before. My favorite player outside Boston is Damian Lillard. I love watching Damian Lillard play. His pull-up threes are amazing to watch. He's loyal, which is very rare nowadays in the NBA. He wants to win in Portland. He doesn't want to leave, even if they're the worst team in the league. He wants to stay there.
I like that about him.
Yeah, he's just a. And then when the Clippers lost, when him and CJ McCollum were on Twitter, just absolutely flaming all of them because the Clippers were making fun of them. It was but my favorite player to watch is Damian Lillard. Thank you, Leo, for that question.
There's a question under that. Do you want to get to that, or are we just not going to mention?
You know, I am not going to be roasted by two people about my Celtics tonight. After the stream, I'm gonna go in my bed and cry myself to sleep. I'm putting on a brave face right now. But anyways, so our last question of the day is: we talked about what's next for the Boston Celtics. How about the other team in the other conference that just got eliminated yesterday? Let's go with Andrew first. Andrew, what do you think is going to happen next for the Denver Nuggets?
The Denver Nuggets just exploded their future. I mean, Jamal Murray. They're definitely going to be a team to fear, and I think the Nuggets are definitely going to draw in. I don't really know kind of cap space as well as I probably should, but I think the Nuggets are definitely going to draw in a superstar soon. I feel like I'm not going to say if they were to get a superstar, I think it would have to be a perimeter scorer because I don't think a guard would work as Murray, and obviously Jokic is a center. I can't really think of any people on the top of my head. I love Blake Griffin, but he's getting older. But I think the Denver Nuggets are definitely in position to succeed. Although the Western Conference is tough, and waiting isn't always the best thing to do, or it's not always kind of the best. You can't really wait. So a lot of teams are emerging in the West right now. The Mavs are one to look at. The Portland Trailblazers have been emerging for a while. So if the Nuggets are emerging, right, time is of an essence. So I think so far the Nuggets definitely are drawing in people because this is an amazing playoff performance by Jokic and Murray. So definitely a bright future, but the West is tough. So it's either now or I'm not gonna say now or never, but waiting isn't, you don't know what happened if you wait.
Whenever we talk about the future of a team in the Western Conference, I'm always like, oh, the West is too hard. But for this Denver Nuggets team, I'm actually a believer. I think they're going to be great and at the top of the conference very soon because Jamal Murray took a step in these playoffs that we haven't seen from him before. We haven't seen that Jamal Murray. Yeah, exactly. He made a name for himself as someone who is going to be an all-star next year. I think pretty certainly is going to be an all-star. And so they've got that core with him and Jokic. And then if you look at their young players, Michael Porter Jr. is going to be very good. Bull is going to be very good in a couple of years. I don't even think they need another superstar to be a contender. Now, to be a favorite, sure, probably. But I really like this Nuggets team.
Well, imagine if Carmelo Anthony comes back to the Nuggets because he's a great perimeter player. I think he'll stay in Portland. He'll definitely stay in Portland, but that would be crazy.
I feel like I'm with Ben. I remember in one of our streams earlier, I called out Jamal Murray and I said he'll never be an all-star. I think he kind of made me eat those words. I said the Nuggets were overrated. I didn't think they had a chance of making the conference finals. They made me eat my words. I believe they built a strong 1-2 combo, but they're not going to go anywhere. They need that third option or even a first option, like someone of that tier that can constantly score. Relying on MPJ is very risky because he cannot play defense to save his life. You can't really, in a playoff series, you kind of witness for the Nuggets, you can't rely on, maybe Jeremy Grant's going to go off for one night, maybe Monte Morris, maybe Gary Harris. You got to have that player that's going to score, that you can rely on that will score. I feel like that's going to bring them over the hump. I feel like in the past 2 years, they were the 2 seed and 3 seed this year. So I feel like they're going to be in that top 4 seed for the next 5 years because Jokic and Murray are really young. I think
Jokic?
I think he's 23.
I'll look it up, but all right.
I'm pretty sure he's 23. But I feel like Denver needs that superstar star kind of player to take them over the hump that can beat a team like the Lakers and the Clippers constantly, or the Warriors fully healthy because we got to remember those people are coming back too. But yeah. So
do you think Michael Porter Jr. can be that third guy in like 2 years, or you think he's not going to be able to rise to that level?
I think he could if they gave him a chance, but I don't think they will because they know they're, like Andrew kind of mentioned, they're.
Did Daniel just go bye-bye for you too?
Yeah. RIP.
Well, hopefully he comes back because I don't know how to end the stream without him. Yeah, so I guess if you're still watching, we just witnessed the NBA. I guess we saw the Western Conference or the East end today. Very entertaining scenario with the Heat and the Celtics. I'm just very excited to see what happens with this Lakers Heat kind of matchup. Really hope Daniel comes back so we can end the stream.
We're having technical difficulties right now that Andrew and I have no control over. So,
do you know how to end the stream?
I have no idea. But let's give him some time.
Yeah.
Thanks everyone for if anyone's still watching, thanks for sticking with us. I can't pull it up, but I see someone in the chat saying, "Can you talk about the Warriors?"
Yeah, that's my brother. Shout out to my brother Garrett for
Oh,
tuning in.
hey Garrett. Yeah.
Yeah, so the
I remember
Warriors.
you. Thanks
So
for
what do you think about the
thanks for
Warriors?
coming in. You go ahead on this one. I think I'm getting
Yeah,
a
so
text
the
from
Warriors.
Daniel.
That's good. So the Warriors, and he's back. But let's talk about the Warriors real quick.
Pain, man, pain. Why did I get kicked out? No, it's all good. Sorry.
So wait, hold on. We have a question. Do you want to throw it on the stream? Last question of the night.
About the Warrior, yeah, we could do that.
So the Warriors, Klay Thompson's back next year. Steph Curry's back next year. Draymond Green, he's back, but he didn't even leave, and he's kind of like Draymond Beans, as a lot of people call him.
I don't even get it.
Because he's Beans. And then the Warriors, they have their first round. They have their first round second pick, which a lot of people think they'll trade. I personally think it'd be good if they can invest in a good center because they've had center troubles. And James Wiseman. Oh no, John. Who's the center that I thought would be good? I forgot that. I don't really know that.
James Wiseman.
Yeah, James Wiseman. Yeah, he's 6'5". I don't know anymore. But James Wiseman.
I don't think so.
He's 7 feet. Yeah. Anyways, the Warriors, they're gonna need a good center, and I think they are definitely contenders next year. And the dynasty is not over. The Bay is. They're gonna slay in the Bay.
Yeah. That core of Steph, Klay, and Draymond, they have the best winning percentage season at 73-9 of any team in NBA history. So to count them out would be nothing but foolish, honestly. The rest of their squad, I don't know. You got some good pieces in Pascal. And that's mostly it, honestly. I mean, there's a reason they had the worst record in the Western Conference this year, but they'll definitely be in the mix.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people, obviously they were the worst team in basketball this year. They just wrote them off. They're like, okay, the Warriors are just not going to do. But the fact of the matter is Curry is still probably one of the best point guards in the league. Klay Thompson is one of the best 3-and-D players in the league. Draymond Green, when he gets his temper under control, is one of the best defenders in the league. But this year, he did a lot of technical fouls this year, a lot. And it was, then again, they were losing a lot, so he was just mad. He probably didn't want to play as much. Steve Kerr is a very underrated coach just because he had KD and all that. People just thought, that's how you're going to win a championship. But Steve Kerr is a pretty freaking good coach, if you ask me. Like you said, Pascal is still there, so he's a pretty solid replacement for Draymond Green in a couple of years because Draymond's getting up there in age as well. It's going to be interesting to see how Andrew Wiggins fits in that group.
Oh, I forgot about him.
Yeah, so and also who knows if they package him with the pick they have on draft night to try to get someone like a Bradley Beal, because they also have the Timberwolves pick next year, which is kind of a good pick because the Timberwolves don't look like they're going to be that good next year. So I feel like the Warriors are not, like Andrew said, not done being a dynasty at all. I still think that they can very well contend for the conference finals next year, and who knows what they do this offseason to add another star player, if they add like James Wiseman, who just turns out to be a great rookie. Who knows? I still think the Warriors are going to be good for at least the next 2 or 3 years.
And I know my brother loves the Bulls, the 90s Bulls. Remember in 94 and 94 and 95 when Michael Jordan was out. That's basically what's happening with Steph Curry and Klay. They were injured. They'll be back for another 3 championships maybe. So, and Steve Kerr played on is on both of the teams as a coach and a player. So yeah, Warriors, don't fret the Warriors. Don't know what that word means, but don't fret them.
All right. Well, thank you guys for all asking questions tonight. Thank you guys for tuning in. We will be back with the stream pretty soon. We don't quite know what the stream will be about, but enjoy the NBA Finals. Follow us on our Instagram page for updates of what the next stream will be. Follow us on Spotify as well. Thank you guys so much for watching and have a good rest of your night.
Lakers in 4.